Should you be staying in your role for a long time? Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? Does it make you unemployable? Is it good for the company or is it bad for the company? Well, let's talk about that today. And I really hope I'm going to help you to think about it, because there is no right or wrong answer. It depends. It really depends on so many things. I speak to employees, they often ask me, shall I move? What is the right time? When should I leave? When should I move? And companies are asking exactly the same, related to those dreaded KPIs, the retention KPIs, right? Oh, the average length of employment. Now, does it really matter? Has everything changed? Because these ideas are coming from the past. Remember, these are all pathological beliefs that no longer exist. So let's talk about that. I'm Sylvia, an organizational psychologist, and I'm here to talk about everything and anything related to human resources. But with today's video, I really want to help you individuals, and also for if you work in management, leadership position, and in HR, to try to think about it a little bit differently. And I think we need to separate the layers when it comes to long-term service. And here is how. So the line-level employee, entry-level roles. Do we need people to stay there for a long time? Now, this is where we see the highest attrition rate, right? Why? Because most of the time, these are boring jobs. Those jobs are designed to get people into organization, entry-level roles, right? And then start training them. So obviously, naturally speaking, they are going to move up, sideways, or out of the organization. And you see sometimes, so what worked for the majority in the past, that everybody stays put, really, with one company, maybe in one role, it no longer works today, in today's workforce. Today, it works for the minority. And that also needs to be a conversation, because everybody is still have this pathological belief that we carried from the past, that, hey, I'm going to have one career, I'm going to have, just a few employers, I'm going to have one career path. So if I end up in HR, finance, whatever, I'm going to stay there. Well, it's very likely that you won't, because everything is changing. But let's go back to the line level employees. So these guys are going to move very fast. And I always encouraged my line level staff after a year and a half, I'm like, move. There is nothing in this job that you're going to learn. And if I didn't have anything for them in terms of promotion, movement, for whatever reason, then I just said, look, go and, that's your career. You are in charge of it. I cannot. Thank you very much for whatever you have given me. I can't give you anything else for whatever reason. And it's up to you. Don't sit around and wait. That's my cat. But wait, stop it. And so then also, I know line level employees who don't want to move from their role because they are extremely good at it. It suits their lifestyle. They like the team, they like the company, or they're just the type of personality that like stability and they don't want, more responsibility. And we need to pick that up. I had a staff who's been a receptionist in a hotel for 12 years, 14 years now, I don't even know, for a very long time. And we couldn't give her a promotion even when we wanted. She was fantastic at her job, but she said, I don't want to have anything. And so we looked at it that time and concluded, just leave her alone. She's contributing, she's doing the job, and we can rely on her. She is literally the pillar of that department. She helped, she trained new joiners. So she was really, really good, and that's what she wanted to do. So, two elements to it. Is the person still learning, want to move? Can you move, can you give something? If not, people will move on one way or another. Or they are extremely happy in their job. And I think that's critical in every layer, that people are happy in their job and they contribute. And that's it. Keep them there. Now let's go higher up, managers, supervisors, manager. Is the same thing apply? Now here we would like people to stay a little bit longer, right? And you know what? Let's talk about managers and leaders. Because I have seen very good examples. When it works, it works. And when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work 99% of the in 99% of the cases. Because I have seen the variation of that. I know HR directors being in their roles for 18 years. They don't bring anything else to the table anymore. I know managers who've been in this company, they literally say, this is my department, this is my company. That's not yours. Now, I don't like it when people say it this way, because that by ownership over your role and what you do is fantastic. These people are most of the time the ones that are blocking most of the changes. So when I look at leaders and managers, the two questions is always this. What do we, the main question is always this. What do we want from this role? And if this person is fulfilling that criteria, that's it. And that has nothing to do with doing the job necessarily. Of course, that has to be, that's the basic. If the person cannot do the job, then no matter which layer, out. But for managers and leaders, especially leaders, do we want the leader and the manager just run the company, the department, the operation, whatever they are running as it is? And we don't want anything, we don't want any change. Are they doing that? Are they happy in their role? Fantastic, keep them, there's nothing wrong. Does the company want that manager leader to implement changes, drive the organization forward? And can that person do that? Is the person happy? Of course, we always have to look at it. Is the person happy in that role? No, and this is where the greatest problem I see. That head of HR for 18 years, she has nothing to bring to the table. She made herself also unemployable. Nobody will hire her because she's been in the same chair for 18 years and she didn't collect any experiences. She did not collect any skills. The HR department, if you look at it, is basically non-existent. Nothing happens. So she's not the creative. She's not driving change. She doesn't implement new things. She's not moving forward with the time. Now, and this is what I see in many cases. I know senior leaders been there for 25, 35 years. I never personally like that because it's always a red flag for me. However, there are some exceptional cases where that leader is really still have that drive. No, not those are exceptional people. Because just think about yourself. My performance flattens out around 2 years. Until then, I change, I do things, I'm very energetic. But after that, it goes because everything becomes the norm. You don't even see the problems because every problem that you see, your brain normalizes it. So that's why we say we need a fresh pair of eyes, because somebody comes in and they will immediately point out what things that could be changed, get better, etc., etc. And that's the reason I don't like to keep senior leaders. Managers not so much, because managers will do what the senior leadership, right, cascade down. So if things work out well, but once again, managerial ownership over this is my department. We do as I say, because I've been here for 15 years. For me, these are the red flags. Immediately, I would get those people out extremely quickly, unless everything works really, really well. Employees are happy and the manager is happy. So you always have to look at so many different things, right? Not just what is that person saying. Oh, okay, so this is your way, fantastic. Show me how does your way working out for everybody and for the employees and for the organization. Because if it's just working for you, because you don't need to make any effort to change things, you don't need to listen to your stuff, so it's comfortable, and you don't need to look for a job because you know that nobody's going to touch you, probably not. Probably not. So going back to leaders, My CEO, I always wondered, now you can agree, disagree, and most of the times I disagreed, but I can also see why he was doing it. So my CEO, he started 2013 as a CEO, and just before COVID was happening, he already, because they had 2-3 years contract, right? He started saying that the new CEO will have to take the organization forward. I have done so much, which he did, fantastic, but he understood that we can only give so much. Once again, if you are an exceptional person and 40 years later you still drive the company, it's fantastic. But my question would also be, would it be a different stamina if we brought in a new person? But that's a different conversation. Now, I'm not saying we need to fire everybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you need to look at things so many different ways. So he started saying that the new CEO will have to drive these initiatives that I started off, et cetera, with the new, level of energy. And then COVID came, so he could never resign. He's still there. But every time when his contract gets renewed, before that, he keeps with every single interview, he says, the new person will have to do. So he's doing a fantastic job. So I think the board wants to keep him and he's just staying on. But he also understands that, hey, I don't have what it takes anymore. I'm doing it, and also the one thing that he was doing every 3 to 5 years, depending, a lot of restructuring. He moved the organization around constantly. Now it can be very unsettling, which was, but he also moved the senior leadership around, either shuffle them around or fire them completely. And I'm like, why are you doing this? But I can actually see, because all this fresh energy came into the organization and we were always doing something new, something exciting. So when you enter organization where the leadership is like stagnant, you feel the energy is very, very low, we're doing things. I know, I made a video, I'm going to link it at the end, where I talk about turnover rate. The podcast that I do. And people don't like that. But we need to acknowledge that there is good turnover rate. When we fire or let go people who are no longer contributing to the organization. I can show you an organization here in the UAE where the mindset is, we don't fire anybody. So what they do, they want 0 turnover rate. I'm like, this is impossible. Like, it's not even healthy. And they do everything to keep people there, even though people don't perform. So they just move the non-performers around constantly. I'm like, how is that? So can you imagine if a new hire comes into the organization and then wants to make a change, wants to do things differently, wants to, move things. And these guys will say, absolutely not. And then all you see is just low performers one after another, because the principle is that we don't fire anyone. So I have seen that too. Even in this company where the HR lady's been there for 18 years. I asked the CEO, and the CEO, I'm like, why are you still keeping this lady in here? She literally 0 contribution. Oh, we don't fire anybody here. Well, when you have this principle and mindset, just know that you might be punishing everybody within the organization. So if you are an individual, think about it always. Am I happy in that role? You can be still happy and ambitious that, hey, today I'm very happy here, but in 2 years, 5 years, whatever, next month, I will be going. But you don't need to, be miserable. Do I want to learn more? And when you are thinking about, if you are a senior leader, if you are a manager, if you are an organizational leader and you're looking at your leadership that they are not doing, just look at those things. Are they happy? What do you want from them? Are they delivering that? And if the answer is no, don't be afraid moving people in and out, because you are sometimes do themselves a favor, because people are very comfortable sitting in that chair. No, it's a routine. They are not contributing. It's a routine. They do what they need to do. They run the machine. But imagine if you make 10 million dirham dollars profit this year with this stagnant workforce, with that company that doesn't want to fire anybody, and half of the employees are completely, like, you wouldn't even notice if they showed up or they didn't. If you make 10 million dirham profit Can you imagine how much you could make if you actually had a workforce that drives the organization forward? And this is where the conversation should start. It's not that we like people, we don't like people, we don't like to fire, we like to fire, I don't like to be fired. Nobody likes to be fired. But sometimes when you fire people, you actually, especially these guys who've been there forever, because they are just comfortable. They don't want any hustle, including looking for a job. And I guarantee you, many of them are looking for a job, but they can't find, so that's why they are with you. And that's not great. It's not great. So that's not engagement, that's not retention rate. Those people should not even go to into any of these KPIs. We should create a new KPI for them, that they are here because they can't find a job. I would like to see, what would be the rate in any organization if we measure that. Now, so if you are in that role, just be aware of these things, because even if you are, and I know many people, we've been with the company 30, 40 years, they can't find another job. They are unemployable. Nobody will ever take them because they did not collect experiences. They did not collect the different skills. They did not collect. And can I just say something about experience versus experience? Because sometimes, CHROs of these, I can only talk about HR. CHROs of these company size of 50 to 200 people. Like my last job, I managed directly 800 people. So, and in corporate, we managed 40,000. So you have very different experiences, right? So you are having different problems. You solve different problems. In a company of 300,000 employees, you as a HR person or any role, right? You have problems that people in small companies don't even come across. They can't even dream about those problems because that's not going to be relatable for them. Now, if you are working only in your small little town and you've always been working there, your experiences are very limited. You cannot be compared to those who have traveled the world or even just went to a different city, a big city. So always think about that, because these are the things that make people unemployable. Experience, what you want, what the organization wants from this role, how happy you are, etc., etc., etc. And just the experience. Think about it. Because I don't even argue with CHROs on LinkedIn who run a company of 150 employees. I'm like, lovely lady, I'm sure you are good at what you are doing in there, but I have worked all over the place, and I have seen small companies now as a consultant and large companies. I run the processes for 40,000 employees. So we are not on the same level in terms of experiences. So what your problem is not my problem, and my problem you can't even understand. So always think about those ones when you are collecting experiences. I hope this helps, and it's a little bit long now, but just don't make yourself unemployable by staying in for a long time in one place, in one role. And if you are an organizational leader, see what you want from that role, and if this person is delivering it, because if he or she doesn't, it's time for a change.